Listen, my mother does not need to be driving a vehicle. And I understand that because she has gotten to the point in her life where if she drives a car, there's a chance she's going to get lost and not be able to find her way home. And so
Snap decisions don't get made as quickly.
We have taken the car keys away from her. I don't understand why, if you're in charge of Jerry Jones, why nobody's taking his car keys away.
Yep.
Because at some point, and this is not an ageism thing, at some point he is not capable of running. And Jerry Jones is never going to tell you that he is, you know what, you're right, Jack, I'm done. I can't find my way home, and I should not be running the Dallas Cowboys. But that day's coming. Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. The weekend is here. It is week 0. Time to make some money betting on football. Guys, I hope you have made the journey. You have made it through the summer. You've not died of heat stroke, and you're ready for football because we're finally there. NFL preseason has been a nice little teaser. Nice little fluffer getting us ready to roll. But now we're heading toward real football in a league that has more turnover than anything in the world. So we're going to talk about that, talk about how to make money in college football early in the season. We're going to get you some free winners. We're going to talk a little bit of NFL probably, maybe a little UFC. It's just no telling where this show's going to go. But thank you for joining us for the next hour or so. We're going to get you ready to make some money. If you're trying to make money, go to fatjacksports.com. We'll get you signed up in the system now versus waiting, and that will be your first step toward turning a profit betting on these games. Let me bring in my co-host for the next hour, all the way from Paris, France, to London, England, to Louisville, Kentucky. Mr. World Traveler himself, Mr. Worldwide, is no longer South Florida. He's Mr. Brandon Rush from Louisville, Kentucky. Brandon, you're back from overseas. How are things?
Yeah, I mean, I made the rounds. I went Paris, London, New York. It's almost like I'm a male model at this point because I've been making the rounds.
You're figuring out what it's like to be really, really, really good looking. I mean,
Right,
that's
yeah.
Zoolander. That's what they are. They're really, really, really good looking. You're one of those guys now. How was it? Quickly before we get to the show, we'll give away free winners. We're going to do all the stuff we need to do because this is week 0 of college football, and I want to get to that, but I would be remiss. It's not every week that Brandon goes to Europe. So highlight, low light in a quick little, what'd you hate about it? What'd you like a lot about it? Where are you?
They say Paris is the city of love. It's kind of overrated.
You've been
but
married a long time, so not looking to.
Right, yeah, not brushing up any skills there. But it had an absolute blast. It was wild though to see just the differences in people and culture. Even though speaking a lot of the same languages, they say them in a different way, and it kind of means a little bit different sometimes. And then you come back immediately, and it's just like hate crime. You just visit New York City, and you're like, oh hey, that just happened. So
Did you go into the city, or are you spending time outside the city right now in New York?
I'm actually in like Long Island City, like the building. If the building right here behind me wasn't there, you have the full skyline, the Empire State Building, whole thing.
Gotcha. And London, England, what'd you think of that?
London was fantastic. I went to my first ever Premier League game. I got to see Tottenham at Tottenham Stadium. You've been to that stadium a number of times doing NFL stuff for Beat the Odds. Fantastic area. I loved the trip. Did not love the Piccadilly line. We went to a show in the theater district on Thursday night, and I'm willing to bet if we snuck a one more person on that train, it would have exploded. We were at capacity for a very uncomfortable amount of time. That was probably the low light of the trip. But all in all, 10 days in Europe, could not ask for a better trip to kind of get everything out before the next 21 Saturdays of football in college football. And we are going to get into it, not necessarily knee deep this week because there's only, 4 or 5 games, but we have games, and that's the important part.
So you were minding the gap, but the other people getting on the train were also maybe minding the gap, maybe in your business.
It would be like you or I trying to fit in our mid 30s, trying to fit into like a size 40 husky pant. It was cramped.
So that you get that a lot going to the NFL games, actually. Anytime everybody's going somewhere, it's all hands on deck. New York's the same way, though. You take the train in New York to a Mets game or to a Yankees game for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You jump on there. It's every lathered up drunk idiot from around everywhere that's on these trains and is firing out there, and they're trying to take their girlfriend. They're trying to catch a foul ball, and the Yankees are going to win the World Series. So Yeah, when you do public transportation, that is the downside to it, is that it will come one, come all, especially when you're coming and leaving the stadium. Glad you had a good time. Glad you're back. Didn't get your cell phone stolen. That's a good thing, because that does happen.
And
People pickpocket
our
everything. So.
our literally we get to Gare du Nord in Paris off the plane 45 minutes. We thought Jamie's phone was lost, but it wasn't. It was just in a different pocket than we thought it was. But there was a millisecond of like, great, this trip's off to a
You would
roaring
not
start.
have been the first to
No.
get off the train and the phone's gone. But glad you're back and ready, as you said, ready for some football. Now, yes, it's week 0. We've got the NFL that's going into week 3 of the preseason. So some would tell you this is literally the deepest valley before we get to the top of the
Mm-hmm.
mountain, because over the next
Because we
couple
are
weeks.
so close. We're so close to
Yeah.
just like the full card.
And Thursday, really. I mean, we get underway Thursday with full card, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday there's some games over Labor Day weekend coming up. So it's here, but this weekend, it's how do we handle this week? Because it's week 0, and a lot of people out there are like, football's football. They're playing for keeps. Okay, we're going to start there. I hate it that this show, by the way, go to fatjacksports.com. The good thing about going to fatjacksports.com right now is you get the lowest prices and you can get all of the plays. When you get all the plays, you're into profit already. If you did it last week, if you did it a month ago, if you did it 3 months ago or 6 months or a year ago, you're into profit, because we've been building profit all during 2025, including UFC winning again last week, another 4 units or so. That's a 6 units, 3 units, 4 units in 3 back-to-back weeks. We're deep into profit in that. The NFL preseason's up a game or 2. Baseball, we over the course of the season done okay. It hasn't been as good at baseball as normal. It's been one of the worst seasons they've had. It's free. That's why it's free. So I always tell people that's why we bet less. We don't go crazy in the summer, because baseball's a fickle mistress. I've talked about Pete Rose and his lack of ability to make money betting on baseball. Sometimes even the best are going to lose. It's not been the best year in baseball, and it's okay, because those are free. And everything else is more than made up for that. Soccer's now started. We're into week 2 of the English Premier League. Big card coming up this weekend. The point of this is, if you'll get signed up now, you don't have to go into week 0 of college football or week 1 of the NFL or 1 of college football coming up here over the next couple weeks and have to win. You don't want to put yourself ever in a have to win situation. And unfortunately, for myself and Brandon and people who have to manage the customer service and that whole team, that's what they're going to get into over the next month. Guys emailing or whatever saying, I'm down $800. I lost on my own. I've got to get back. Desperation mode. Can you help? That's where things go over the next few weeks. Those decisions are all, that decision to sign up in 3 weeks is actually starts today, starts this weekend, because guys will bet, they'll lose. They go into next week, they'll bet, they'll lose, and they're like, I don't know, wait a minute. NFL's coming. I don't want to quit already, but I've got to quit losing. Let's call the Fat Jack. Let's go to fatjacksports.com. Get yourself out of that group. All right, that's the number one thing. Don't be that guy. I can't say that in a month. In a month, you'll hear us, both Brandon and I, both on here saying, if it took you a month to lose, give us 6 weeks to get you back. I mean, that's where it turns to. I will make you money. If you sign up today, it's not as good as if you'd signed up a month ago or 3 months ago or 6 months ago or 20 years ago. You'd be in a much better spot. But if you sign up now and you're getting everything going forward, you're going to make money this year, especially if you're getting all the plays. So go to fatjacksports.com, look at the packages you can get this weekend. $44 for, you heard me right, $44 gets you football through Monday. So that's going to be all the college games we're going to play, any NFL that we're going to play. We will play some preseason games, and we're going to play some college games, and you'll get free baseball for $44. That is very inexpensive. Now, depending on when you're signing up when you hear this show, if you're going and you catch us online, it'll be $44 come Thursday. If you're listening to the show on Tuesday or Wednesday, wait till Thursday. It'll be $44. That's my gift to you. Don't sign up Wednesday, or email me and I'll get you the link to sign up on Wednesday. But it'll be put up on Thursday morning, $44 for football through the weekend. If you want to win, make sure you're going to win and not have to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel with these few college games and the NFL season that's still in the preseason and free baseball. If you want to make money, then go ahead and spend a little more. If you're calling on Thursday, if you're going on Thursday, it'll be like $149, $169 probably. If you're going on Friday, it'll be $149. You're going on Saturday, it's $99. That will get you not only the football, the baseball, it'll get you the UFC, which is $100 alone if you just get UFC. and it'll get you soccer. We don't even offer a weekend package on soccer this time of year. But if we do, it's 150 or more just Friday to Monday. Those plays have made over 100 units over the last year. So they're very expensive normally. I'm going to give them to you for free, or not free, but in your package for free, if you'll take advantage of this preseason Week 0 special. FatJackSports.com. The best thing you can do is get a longer package. Do the math. All right, so if you're going to play beyond this weekend, even let's say, gosh, $149, that's great for the whole weekend worth of plays. I get soccer, I get UFC. You're paying $150 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or $99 for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? You're thinking that's great. Look at the price on what you get if you sign up for all the sports, same sports I mentioned, all the way through September. It's, I want to say, $649 for 5 full weeks in in September, and a weekend and a half in August. So you get 2 and 5 is 7. You're getting it's like $80 a week. You're going to pay less than $100, and that's all the weekday games too.
Yeah, you're looking at around $18 a day for through the end of September. I mean, you break that out even through the Super Bowl, you're looking at under $10 a day for picks.
All sports.
For everything.
And more importantly, you're going to win. That's the deal. If I don't have a great weekend in the NFL preseason, it won't matter. Because I'm not going to lose soccer, UFC, college football, and the NFL preseason.
The NFL preseason, yeah.
I'm not going to. I don't do that. We don't do that. If I have a bad, like I said, it's not just me. I have guys. I have soccer guys. They're good in the soccer. I have a UFC guy. I just told you he's won big the last 3 weeks. He's going to win again this week. By the way, I think the UFC card's tricky this week. It's like in Korea or someplace weird.
It's an early
offense,
card.
But yeah, it's super early, super late. Nothing to do with Korea or overseas, but it's someplace where we're going to have it at a weird time. So get in early on that. But the point is, I'm not going to lose in all 4. I'm not going to lose in 3. If I have one of the 4 that doesn't do well, the other sports more than make up for that. When we get into September, that all sport package includes your NFL props every week.
Oh gosh. So
that we're winning.
So now you're looking at college football plays, sides and totals, NFL sides and totals, NFL props, soccer, free baseball, and the UFC
for about $100 a week.
Silly.
And if you go through the Super Bowl, it's even less money. That's what if you want to be a Bear, be a Grizzly, quit pussyfooting around, playing in the dandelions. All right, get yourself in there and let's go win some money. FatJackSports.com will get you all the plays for the lowest price, about $100 a week or less, actually, when you go through the Super Bowl or through the NBA Finals. All those packages are listed under the package page. All right, let's get on to the show because we have a ton to get to. We got college games coming up on Saturday. Nothing Thursday, nothing Friday, but Saturday we got college. Are there any college games Sunday? I don't think there are. It's all Saturday this week.
I believe all the games are Saturday, correct.
So $44 for all those games and the NFL preseason all the way through Monday night. Let's talk about one of those games. I tell you about last week, but we'll talk about last week during the after the timeout, after we get back. I don't remember what happened. I went to a softball game. I've been working. This time of year, Brandon, it is nose to the grindstone. Much.
The grind has absolutely commenced, and there was a period of time where there was a conversation going on regarding a client who had signed up for a package they really couldn't utilize, and I was on a train, kind of following that and keeping it in. But yeah, the grind is here, and it's going to go. It's every bit of just 16, sometimes 20-hour days, depending on what, if it's later in the week, that's going to go through the better part of at least Christmas and on, through the Super Bowl and into March Madness. So
you were watching me AI the crap out of that thing.
It was one of those deals. Like, I don't even remember exactly where we were, but I'll tell you exactly where I was. I was in the elevator going up to the observation deck of the Shard in London, right? And I see the chat come in and I respond and I was like, hey, here's what's going on. And then I see you typing and I was like, oh, I'm hands off. I don't need to be up. I don't need to be 70 floors above London and have the just this slight desire to be like, you know what, I'm just going to check my phone off this
Yeah,
thing
you were
because
out of the
I don't want
country.
to
I
deal
didn't
with
want to bother you. So, for those of
Right,
you out there who need the
right.
show, Brandon handles all the customer service that there's overflow if he's gone normally, but this is preseason. It's not like we're swamped in that land. And we have an
Sure.
AI component to it. So, most
Hmm.
questions, you go punch it in at fatjacksports.com, it'll answer the easy questions. Well, when you get to a question that really is so ridiculous and
And
so
this one was.
unbelievably, I mean, AI doesn't even know how to help you. And sometimes when you give the right answer, it's still some people it doesn't register. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw how that deal ended, but I mean he just went ahead and said I'm in. I don't know how he's out. He can't bet on some of the stuff as whole. But anyway, I get a thing on the AI. I see that there's a problem, and Brandon's overseas. I don't want to bother him. I don't know what he's doing, but I don't want to say, hey man, this guy's because it was such a ridiculous thing. He had signed up for a package but he doesn't. And we have people out there listening right now that are in this boat, so he can play Prize Picks. He's in a state that you're able to play Prize Picks, and that we'll only talk
Right.
about this
Sports betting not legal, through traditional sports books.
in that state.
Right, exactly. And so that we have a number of customers who either drive to other states, or go through other means, or like you said, play Prize Picks or some of these other daily sports, daily fantasy type games, and we'll use those prop picks to formulate plays and try to win money that way.
So this is important for other people out there if you're listening. If you're wanting to sign up and you're in a state that only has Prize Picks, which we have a number of those people.
Hmm.
This guy went ahead, even knowing he knows he can only play with Prize Picks. At least he said that. I'm not sure what this deal is now because where he ended is like anyway, you can only if you only play Prize Picks, you're only allowed to play player props. So you basically can take player A versus player B, over under totals, those type things within players, not teams. All right. So he signs up for a package that's basically getting him football, baseball, all these sides, all these totals. Also, the players' props, but with us, players' props don't come into play until we get to the NFL season. So the guy signs up for a package. He's paying for a bunch of plays that he can't use, but he wants to play the players' props. So I basically said, "Well, we don't have." He says, "Where are the players' props for the baseball?" I said, "Well, the baseball's free. You're not getting player props for baseball."
And we don't do base, but we don't do like Clayton Kershaw strikeouts. Like
No, we
that's
don't.
not, we're not there yet.
I'm not going to
We
be
may
there. You know
someday.
why? Because I only want to make money betting on sports. I'm not here to gamble for fun. So if I can't make money betting on it, we're not going to release it. I'm not going to give it
Fair.
out. Some people don't understand that. I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to make money.
Right.
That's it. And I'm here for you guys to make money. My picks to you are going to be plays that I'm pretty sure you can make money betting and have over 25 years. We're going to talk after the break on how do you vet people that are trying to help you make money? Because I think it's
Hmm.
important that people actually apply some rules, even if you weren't going to sign up at fatjacksports.com, which you should, because spoiler alert, you're going to see the ways that you vet it. I'm going to follow in. I'm going to be able to pass all those tests. But there's other people out there that have been inundating this market. So it's important that you apply a few things. And we're going to talk about that. But for this deal, this guy's he signs up for everything. Now he's like, well, I can't play all that stuff. Where's this? Where's that? Well, we don't have some of that. And so I said, well, easy enough. We'll switch you over. You can get 6 weeks after telling him 2 or 3 times, we don't have those. You're not going to be able to get that. Do you want to move over? He kept saying, well, I can't play that. I want to do X, Y, or Z. So the lesson here is that if you can only play with Prize Picks, then sign up for the NFL player props package. That's the one you can use. You're going to get 10 to 15 a week starting here in a couple weeks. Starting the first week of the NFL season, every single week through the Super Bowl, you're going to get 10 to 15 player props a week. Last year, those player props made money 4 out of every 5 weeks. And I would say once a month, they were hitting literally like 85% of them. I was going 10-5 or 11-4, 12-3. Really, really dominating the players' props because they are tied to the selections that I'm releasing in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
if
Hmm.
I like Miami, let's say I like Pittsburgh, I like the Steelers, then I'm probably going to have Aaron Rodgers over. I'm probably going to have this receipt. Who they pick up?
Yeah.
Devontae.
DK
DK Metcalf,
Metcalf.
yeah.
Yeah.
Metcalf over his total. I'm going to find the running back, all those things. So,
And even though we often tell people don't play parlays, if you have that NFL players prop package and you feel frisky, but you can kind of see the correlation between like, hey, we expect this, this side and potentially this total, you can kind of see where those are going to correlate. And if you want to play that sort of advanced math, if you will, that's a great opportunity. If you're going to play
If you
parlays,
live in a
you
state that you can only play prize picks, and the only way you're going to be gambling is through playing players, props, parlays, if that is going to be your source of gambling during the football season, then play parlays and sign up for the players prop package,
yep.
because that is going to give you a much better chance of winning than whatever your option B for you would be. Guessing, playing your favorite player, whatever that would be, because we're going to win on those. So yeah, every rule that I have as far as gambling relates to sports gambling, there's going to be some asterisks. If you live in Oklahoma, you live in Wisconsin, you live in Texas, all these states where that's all they have, and you're not planning on either playing offshore, playing with a bookie, or going to Kansas or Illinois or wherever to bet each week, then yeah, sign up for the Players Prop package and play those, parlay them together. I would parlay the teams together. Like if I have 3 with Pittsburgh, I'd parlay the 3 with Pittsburgh together, 3 with the Ravens or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I jumped in. I start doing the AI stuff. We basically, long story short, circled right back to where we started. He decided just to keep the whole package. So I don't know what that means.
I mean,
He
there's
solved
there's a
nothing.
number of different ways now. I mean, there's these social sports books that are out there, which, I mean, I don't know how long those are going to be legal, but there's methods, there's ways.
Everybody's trying to figure out how to get a piece of the pie. And
Hmm.
frankly, if you're out there and you're listening to this show and you're planning on gambling on sports, translation, they're trying to figure out a way to get in your pocket. They will not want you to gamble with them. And I deal with this every single year and have for a quarter of a century. They do not want you to gamble with them if you win consistently.
If you
And
know
so
what you're doing, they don't want your money.
they're going to limit you. They're going to stop you from betting with them. They're going to do things. They identify people that win. And by the way, I can teach people who are winning with me how to kind of keep off the scent of
Hmm.
winning. Part of it is parlays. But anyway, everybody, if the average guy that's going to his job and then taking his money and not playing golf, but going down to the bar and betting on these games, everybody wants a piece of that. Be very, very careful with who you're listening to if you're going to bet. And if you're just guessing, it's time to stop doing that. Go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up today, and win this weekend. You're going to have to refresh my memory. I know you've had a busy week. Did we talk about who I think is going to win the Super Bowl last
We
week?
did not give out any futures on the first show. No.
Okay, because I'm trying to do here in Oklahoma City with Jim Traber, one of my hosts, at exactly the same time. So I don't want to give that out early and then have him. I'll probably wait on that. It'll all make sense afterwards. But let's talk about these games. So you want to do this now? Or you want to take a break and come back?
Let's take a quick break, because when we come back, Farmageddon is this weekend. I mean, Iowa State K-State is probably the marquee game. The fact that it's being played in Ireland is goofy.
In
But
Ireland.
I have a story related to this game.
Perfect. I'm excited about that. This is an interesting one. This game, people you don't remember, we had Notre Dame Navy was over there. Last year we had Georgia Tech beat Florida State as a 10.5
Yep.
point underdog. Things
Yep.
happen when these teams go overseas. Northwestern beat Nebraska a couple years ago. So
Hmm.
we talk about this in the NFL a lot, how teams handle this trip, always very interesting. We're going to talk about that game in particular because that is kind of the marquee week 0 game. It also relates to Europe, which is where Brandon just was. We'll figure out a way to work some corned beef and cabbage into the conversation and much, much more. Don't go anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come right back, get you a free winner, and get you ready to make some money. You're listening to the Fat Jack Sports Hour.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer.
Before the ball is tipped or shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history is made.
If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally. Set limits. And keep it fun.
When gambling becomes a problem,
Visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to fatjacksports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. fatjacksports.com.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host, a man with international appeal. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Fat Jack Sports Hour segment number 2. We've got, not only that, we've got packages that are international appeal. UFC, as I said, is going on someplace in Asia this week. We've got, obviously, the soccer stuff, English Premier League in week number 2, fatjacksports.com. Adding those packages now saves you a ton of money, and getting a combo package with everything is incredibly, it literally is criminally inexpensive. I mean, very inexpensive. Some of those sports absolutely free when you add them to your football and basketball, because you're not paying anywhere near retail when you get them all together. You want to add them if you sign up for football and basketball, you want to add UFC, or you want to add the players props, you want to add the NFL, or you want to add soccer. Now is the time those prices go up as we get into the season. They will cost you more. And obviously, as you'll see going forward, weekly costs you a ton more. So it'll be $150 a week for this, just the NFL player props, or you can get the entire year for like $1,400. So
yeah, so that's like getting literally
price.
half the season free. Yeah,
Exactly. So, and it will make you money. It's going to make you money, and it's a nice safety net for those few weeks where I'll have guys, they just want college football, or they just want the NFL, and that's totally okay if you want to do that. But you are increasing the variance that sports gambling has, because there are turnovers, there are in-game injuries, there are things that happen in games, in sports. And so when you spread that out a little bit over solid plays across multiple different sports, you're decreasing the variance that gambling in general is going to have, especially when you do it with me, because I'm going to give you 4 or 5 sports that over the season are going to allow you to win. You're going to win. So when you have a down week in one, it's okay, because you got 3 or 4 others picking that up. So go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up today. Let's talk K-State, Iowa State. As you said, you said that you actually were in London and saw some people. Tell me what happened, Brandon.
right. So we're taking a tour of St. Paul's Cathedral, like the cathedral in downtown London. Like Princess Di and Prince Charles were married there. Like so many official things, big things have happened there. And it's Saturday morning before we go up to Tottenham. Very quiet, very like somber. There's a mass that's about to take place within about maybe 30 minutes of us actually taking our tour. And as we're about to leave, see a family head to toe decked in K-State purple. And me being the way that I am, kind of mosey on over there, say, hey, you going to the game? And this gentleman, a very pleasant gentleman, probably early 50s, maybe mid 50s or so, proceeds to have the loudest conversation I have ever heard about K-State football in a place of worship. And he absolutely despises Matt Campbell. So he was letting out some hate towards Iowa State in Farmageddon in advance of going to Ireland in literally one of the most holy places on earth.
You know, I that would surprise me, except I have a bunch of people in my family that do not have inside voices. And so I kind of get that. It's like that's.
I mean, there's people in our circle that don't have inside voices.
Exactly.
If we're being honest.
Well, sure, yeah, you're exactly right. That there's no way they would be able to make it through an entire conversation in a church like that and not disrupt everybody. So
Sure.
I kind of get that. They're indoors. They didn't get it. They're going to the game, though. That's exciting. And I think, you know what, Brandon, I think you ran across kind of the cross-reference of people that are going to be going over there. I don't think a lot of people just ship into Ireland. It's not the easiest place in the world to get to.
No.
And you would make a trip out of it. I was at KU Media Day last week doing some radio up there, and which is a really amazing place. We have time, we'll talk about that. But they've got an influx of money like nobody's business. They got David Booth, who is a private equity guy, $300 million donation last week, and he's the one that built their stadium before that. I have a really actually interesting David Booth story if we get some time later in the show. But anyway, the people from K-State and Iowa State, this is the type of deal you do. You go to London, you do the things, and then you go up to Ireland and watch the game. So I guess it's been received lukewarm from both the players, the coaches, and the fans about whether this should be being played in Ireland. But we get that every year. So Kansas State, 3.5 point favorites, down to 3 in most spots. Iowa's a total 49.5, somewhere in there. This is one of those spots. It's a K-State home game. So they were given a bunch of money to go over there. They'll get the majority of the money that these two teams are getting. Iowa State's going to win too, but it's a K-State home game that they gave up. So if K-State wins, they're favored, and if they win, no harm, no foul, because this is not a Notre Dame Navy or a two teams that are not in the same conference. This is a conference game in a conference that's wide open,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got K-State and Iowa State, both, their fans are playing for keeps. They want to win the Big 12, get in the playoff, blah, blah, blah. So if K-State goes up there and loses this thing and gives up a home game, it's not going to be great for the athletic director there, because this is all under the name of money. It's this cash grab in college football right now with all of the people transferring and all the different money that's changing hands. Everybody's got to get their hands on this money so they can give it to players and everything else. And this is one of those examples where you are taking kind of a calculated risk if you're K-State and giving up a home game to go to Ireland. Great for the fans that go. I guess they're expected about 10,000 fans apiece, so that's a good group. Normally, that's not the case. Normally, if you have Notre Dame and Navy, it's going to be 90% Notre Dame fans, 10%
The national
Navy.
brand in there. Yeah, and you start getting these regionals. Like next year is Western Michigan's playing Michigan. Is there that many flights out of Kalamazoo to Dublin?
Yeah, that might as well be at the Bahamas Bowl. That's total waste of time. So yeah,
play it at a super speedway like they did the baseball game a couple weeks ago. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's an irritation for another day. I wish you hadn't even told me that, because that's very irritating information. But even when you get some of these teams that are not in the that do not travel as well. Nebraska and Northwestern. Nebraska has 1 billion fans. They're all in for football. Northwestern, everybody's, dividing by pi and splitting the atom and making $1 billion. So they're not.
And they all live in Chicago. They're not going to.
Yeah, nobody's going to the game. And it's a small school. Northwestern's a private school. It's smaller. They're not going. They've got class starting and stuff. So this one, you're going to get an equal amount of fans, it looks like, for both of these teams. So I think it's an interesting game. The most interesting thing about it, and this kind of leads me to everything else going on in college football for week 0 and actually week 1 coming up next week. There are so many new players on both of these teams that if you're out there and you're planning on going crazy in week 0, save yourself some headache, all right? Because these teams have totally different teams. You get 85 full scholarships in college football, Brandon. Kansas State has 27 kids transfer out of their program. This is not graduating. So take out all the seniors, and I don't know how many there are because I don't care, and 27 other kids that say, thanks but no thanks, the grass is greener somewhere else. Conservatively, that's 35 kids. It's 35% or so. Maybe it's more than that, actually. 85 full scholarships.
Closer to half of your scholarship turnover from January.
So now you replace them with some younger kids, some incoming freshmen, and 14 transfers in who were not happy where they were. And this is not about K-State or Iowa State. This is about the state of college football, and the climate of college football is what we are right now. So people that tell you because they have a Wildcat on the front of their jersey or Iowa State as a Cyclone that they know what's going to happen on Saturday in Dublin, Ireland, they are lying to you. And the only good thing this is if you're a guy that you're listening to the radio, you're looking online, and you're saying, I got a guy that just told me, I got inside information, I got K-State, Iowa State, lock of the century, da-da-da-da. You should write down that name and never, ever, ever, ever do any business of any kind with that person at all, because that is simply a lie. And you're going to get that from guys that don't know what they're doing today and aren't going to know what they're doing in week 10, 11, 12, 15. But the minimum you're going to know is that they are liars. They're absolute liars, because you can't tell me you know how these two teams are going to play. By the way, Iowa State, 8 incoming players. They lost 17 players. So a little bit different, a little bit less, but still 8 new guys come in. Some of those are going to start. They got an O-line from Wisconsin, O-lineman from Indiana. So that's kind of where I start looking when I look at these transfers is, A, where are the guys that are leaving? Where did they go?
Yeah, where did they come from?
And where are they coming in?
The state of those programs and where they're going to. Yeah.
That's right. And if they're coming in, where are they coming in from? So if you're Kansas State or Iowa State and you got a kid from Alabama, a kid from Miami of Florida, and a kid from Wisconsin, a kid from Iowa, I can buy that those might be helpers to your program today.
Might be a better caliber of player than if you're bringing in transfers from Western Kentucky, from UTEP, from Air Force.
That's right. Now, maybe you got the guy from UTEP, and
Sure.
he's going to help your program. But that's TBD. We'll see what that is. But right now, all we can go off of is those type things. Why was he moving from Wisconsin? Listen, I could spend – we talked about at the top of the show. I am knee-deep in this stuff right now. I could – it's like a soap opera. I could drill down. Okay, They got an O-lineman from Wisconsin. Why did he leave Wisconsin? Was his coach, was his sister sleeping with the defensive coordinator for another team? I don't know what's going on. I don't know why these guys are leaving. I just know they're no longer where they were. And I can't spend the entire fall trying to drill down. It's a lot easier for me to admit, okay, we're going to start a little bit more on an unknowable surface with the sport. By the way, sportsbooks know less than we do. The difference is after this week, I'm going to know more. They're going to still have to do baseball, NFL,
NASCAR, golf.
All of it. Golf coming up, all the different sports, all the different futures, all the look-ahead stuff. They have to do. I don't. I will be dialed in on what these teams are doing specifically, how they played well. Are they winning line of scrimmage? Are they putting a product out there that will gel over the next couple of weeks? Are they going to play somebody that's a little weaker up front? All those things I will figure out. We're going to make a ton of money in college football. But for this week, this game is a good example of what's going to happen across the board. And a lot of these teams, Kansas, Fresno State is another one of those games. Kansas, 29 incoming players off the portal. Brandon, they got 30 new dudes that were in college last year that are on their team.
Somewhere else. Yeah.
Now, they do still – yeah, they have their quarterback still, and they have some players. They got a receiver that's back. But this is a Kansas team that is that meet and greet first of the year. You're going to have guys walk in. Nobody knows anybody. It's going to be like going to I don't even know, a convention.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Schenectady. Okay, well, I got a cousin up there. Yeah,
exactly. That's what
you can't build, especially this early in the year. You anyone that is a sports bettor can't know that how well they've gelled, and the fact that they don't play a preseason game. I think that's something that's going to change very soon, probably within a decade. But yeah, these guys haven't really had time to gel. How do you bet on them?
So here's the good news. I do know how to bet on them. And we are going to make money this week. And you're only going to have to pay $44 to win. Or you can pay between $149 and $99 and get the soccer, the UFC, and all those other sports. Because I actually already do have 3 different plays for sure that are going to go out on Saturday's games. We're going to go at least 2-1, probably 3-0. We're going to start into profit, having nothing to do with the other sports. But this comes from 27 years of doing this, actually almost 30 now, of being able to look at these type of situations. I have a couple connections to some of these universities. I figured out who is gelling a little bit quicker than others, and there will be some matchups that I think we'll take advantage of, and I'll just spoiler alert, we're going to have at least 2 totals. So these are totals because there will be a couple of these teams that are either going to give up points or not give up points based on who I figured out are playing for them. And so those will be the things we take advantage of in week 0, along with everything else. So go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up today, and win this weekend. It is a long season, and the one thing I have to say every year at this time is do not go crazy the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. It is a marathon and not a sprint. Build profit, build momentum, so that when we get to the end of September, you're into profit. That's the deal. Make money during the month of September. So October is a winter, then basketball comes on, and then you're building profit as we go into the end of the year. That's how you make money betting on sports. Not, I'm going to go out, I got $500 in my account, and I'm going to have $450 risk this weekend and hope things go well because I love college football. That is what a lot of you are going to do, and most of you are going to lose. So go to fatjacksports.com and win today. You want to talk about another game, or what else was I going to talk to you about? I had something else that was nothing to do with football, so we probably should not go there just yet. So what do you want to talk about? You want to go to the NFL, or you want to go to another college game?
Let's talk about NFL. Some of the rookie quarterbacks that have come in. Obviously, number 1 overall pick, for the Tennessee Titans, probably going to be the guy. But we've seen a bunch of rookies: Jackson Dart in New York, Shedeur Sanders. Some of these rookie guys come in and have at least decent preseason games.
So Cleveland, as much as I hate Cleveland. And I only hate Cleveland because it's just such a dumpster fire of an organization. They're becoming a really fun story to watch.
It's a train wreck, and you watch as long as the train keeps wrecking.
And the more you know about football, the more entertaining it becomes. So you had Dylan Gabriel come out last week and basically say something bad basically about Shadur Sanders. Some of us are performers, some of us are football players, all that. Kind of a backwards slide.
Right.
Shadur Sanders goes out, has a great week one, then he gets hurt. And then this week, they come out and they name Joe Flacco as a starter. So that came out on Monday. It came out on Monday. They named Joe Flacco the starter for the first game. Everybody, in theory, that sounds like, okay, yeah, you got to go with the older guy. I'm sure he's not going to start very long. Consider this, Brandon. I thought this was an interesting stat. Did you know that over the last 17 starts, Joe Flacco has 650 more passing yards than Patrick Mahomes and 4 more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes?
So Joe Flacco, who is a decade at least removed from
who's
his
1,000
best
years
year,
old. That's right.
yeah, his best year in the NFL, has more passing yards and more touchdowns than the guy who was the MVP less than 18 months ago.
Bingo. Over his last 17 starts, that's obviously the key because he's not
With
starting
2 different
every
teams, by the way.
different teams, not starting every game, playing on bad teams. So obviously they're playing from behind more. So it's kind of a skewed nut. Listen, if you say, who do you want? You want Patrick Mahomes, you want Joe Flacco. Okay. I get that it's a stupid comparison, but it does make you pause for a second and think. Flacco has 4,755 yards over his last 17 starts. Patrick Mahomes has 4,165 yards. Patrick Mahomes has 28 touchdowns over his last 17 starts. Joe Flacco has 32 touchdowns over his last 17 starts. So I'm not saying that Joe Flacco is the savior of anything, but the story in Cleveland is very intriguing to me because of some of this stuff. You got a guy that shows signs when he's healthy, when he's playing, of being competent. You know, we talk about, who's the backup at Pittsburgh, the kid from Oklahoma State?
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. I talk about Mason Rudolph. And Joe Flacco reminds me of Mason Rudolph. In his heyday, he was a lot better, but he's serviceable. Mason Rudolph will throw it to the right guy most of the time. Not going to have a ton of mobility. So is Joe Flacco. So those type guys are similar. But if we look, and so you got these dynamic kids. By the way, Dylan Gabriel, I think, is getting a raw deal. This is not a kid. This is not a guy that stunk in college. He just got put.
He had 3 very good years at 3 different schools.
He got put on a team in the pros where quarterbacks go to die. You know, I mean, he's not going to get a good. It's the worst place in the world to go for a quarterback. And now he's got Joe Flacco that's competent at the very minimum, and he's got, Mr. Showtime, Shadur Sanders, who actually has a ton of talent. We saw that at Colorado. This guy can play. So he is kind of, hey, look over here, look at me. I was going to be an early draft pick, and I went to Oregon to help with that. And now I'm on the freaking Cleveland Browns fighting to make a roster.
In that room. Yeah.
It's weird, but it's really a fun story. So yeah, that's the one. You talk about rookie quarterbacks and who's going to start, who's not. We talked about this last week. Lamar Jackson on his rushing numbers.
No,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we did. Another interesting fact: Lamar Jackson is probably the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. As good as he absolutely, they talk about MVP
or underappreciated. I don't know if he's underrated, underappreciated.
You're exactly right. Not underrated, underappreciated. This dude is so good, and people do not give him the credit. And we got Josh Allen being MVP. Lamar Jackson has 200 fewer rushing yards than Christian McCaffrey. If I told you that, and Christian McCaffrey, by the way, came in the league a year earlier. Lamar Jackson has become.
These are career numbers.
Career numbers since they stepped in the league. Lamar Jackson has 6,173 rushing yards. McCaffrey has 6,387 rushing yards. We want to talk about McCaffrey as being an MVP. He's hurt half the time. Lamar Jackson, that's not even half of what he does. This dude's throwing the ball accurate now. He's not turning the ball over. Unbelievably underappreciated quarterback. Just, guys, file that away as you're heading into your fantasy leagues. Lamar Jackson, if you're going to take Christian McCaffrey over Lamar Jackson, I'm not a fantasy guy. I think that's an incorrect call. I think it's an incorrect take.
That's fair. I have a fantasy draft coming up at work, and I have done zero homework. But I firmly am in the same camp. Yeah, I'd much rather have Lamar on my team than a number of guys that are starting in the NFL.
So if you can get him later, I mean, now you're doing something. You get him
Yeah.
later round, but make sure that you can get him maybe in the second round. You can still take a running back early. I don't know how we got off on fantasy, but if I was a fantasy guy, that's what I'd do. The other thing to keep in mind, I have this in my notes that I think we should say right now, that if you're out there gambling and you're going to be playing over the next month or so, keep in mind that all of these sports books, and I don't want it to be a hate on sports books, but it really is important that you understand, if you're out in the woods, if I'm out in the woods and I'm being hunted by somebody, I want to know I'm being hunted. I want to know somebody's hunting me. Like the Purge. If we're in the Purge, I want to know that the Purge is going on. I don't want to be the one out there that's out campfiring, roasting s'mores, saying, "Oh, isn't this
Oblivious.
You know, look at the night light, the little lightning bug. That's so cute." And then some guy cuts my head off because we're in the middle of the Purge and I didn't even know it. I don't want to be that guy. If you are a sports gambler in this country, you are being hunted by DraftKings, by FanDuel, by MGM, by Circa, all of these sports books. And if you're in Missouri, it's the Purge. They want you, and they want you bad. All right. New sports, acquiring sports bettors, and they have statistics on all this stuff. If you start with FanDuel, most likely you're going to stay with FanDuel. If you start with DraftKings, you're going to stay with DraftKings. So the reports came out for how these companies have done over the last quarter, because they're publicly traded companies. So the two things that stuck out to me is that DraftKings was up $110 million in the second quarter. And most of that was attributed to the increase in live betting. When you start betting live,
in-game betting,
16% increase with DraftKings in their live betting market across the country, and that was primarily their added revenue. It makes a ton of sense. And you're betting in games, you are using emotion more. You're paying worse juice. You're not paying 110. You're not going to see in-game juice numbers at 110. It's become the new norm. Back in the day, 110 was 110. That's what you paid. Right. Those of you new to the show, you bet $110 to win 100 for having the opportunity to pick your team to the sports book. You're charged 10% juice is what we call it, or VIG. And so you'd lay 110 to win 100. You'd lay 55 to win 50, whatever half of that to win half of that. So 10%. That's not the norm now. Now some of these games have 15%, 20%. That eats into your profit because you're going to lose as a sports bettor some. Some of the games you're going to lose. And when you're paying more juice on those losses than you should, it eats into that how many do I need to get right to make money number. And that becomes a problem. The in-game stuff, for them giving you the convenience of betting in-game, they charge you even more juice. So it's a real predatory way to go about things with the average player, because he's going to play on emotion and he's going to bet because it's in-game. He's going to try to hedge out of things. There's going to be a lot of spots that are going to put him in bad things that are going to eat away at that profit, even if he was able to hit 52.8% or whatever it is, whatever the break-even number is, which is a little over 52% of your picks on 110. You're going to eat into that. So it becomes a real problem. That's the first thing that's important. The other thing, if you don't believe you're hunted, hear this number. FanDuel is expected to lose $30 million in the third quarter due to the legalization of sports gambling in the state of Missouri.
So one state is going to swing them $140 million from the second quarter to the third quarter.
If I read that correctly. And those are two different companies, by the way. DraftKings had 110. FanDuel, they're at least going to put $30 million into it. If I read it right, it's either they're putting $30 million worth of losses in the state of Missouri. So Missouri, they will lose at least $30 million to start. Or it's worse than that. They're going to put even more than that to start Missouri to offset all the profit they're going to take someplace else. It's probably the first scenario. The point is, FanDuel and all these other companies are going to give millions of dollars away trying to acquire you as a customer to come bet with them, because they understand that if you start betting with them, you're probably going to stay with them. They're going to push in-game parlays. They're going to press in-game stuff. They're going to and you'll hear these on the commercials. They're going to say, bet 5, win 55. You know, that type of stuff.
Sure.
They'll give you free money to acquire you as a customer. There's two reasons this is important. Number one, understand what they're trying to do. They're not trying to give you free money. They're trying to acquire you as a customer. So be careful on using those same practices once you become a customer and you're playing with your own money. And number two, pay attention if you're in the state of Missouri or you're going up there to all these different things, because they will give you some free money. It's like walking into a casino and they say, here, we've got a coupon for 2 buffets. I'm not saying don't take the 2 buffets. I'm saying take the 2 buffets, go eat the 2 buffets, and then after that, maybe not eat that buffet again if they're charging $800 for the buffet. Go to a cheaper buffet or a better buffet. That's all I'm saying. So understand what's going on in the world of sports gambling. I think that's part of our job here. We haven't talked about responsible gambling probably enough as we've gone over the first show or so. But I wanted to get that out there. These people are ready for Missouri. They're ready for these new states, and they're trying to push you toward bets that are not going to make you money long term, and that should be important to you if you're going to be a sports bettor. FatJackSports.com. Get signed up today. When you sign up, you're going to get about 15 team win totals in college and the NFL. There's another group of those coming out this week, so you'll have 3 total releases of college and NFL season win totals. I'm going to send out who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. Those have been very profitable. We've been in good shape with those. 2 different teams going out. They're both over 20-1, so it's going to give you some value on those. You also are going to get, obviously, Week 0 games and a lot of other free information as we head into the season. Very easy to access the picks. Those of you that are new, you get them emailed to you. You get a personal portal that you'll set up a password for. Very simple. I've made it as easy as possible because I'm one of those guys that I don't like setting up passwords. I don't like pins. I don't like it being different. So I've made it easy for you to go in at any point, see the picks that you've been given. You don't have to talk to anybody. Ever, really. We prefer you not to talk to anybody, actually. We'd like you to go get signed up, follow the system, read the recommended betting guide, make a lot of money, and become a client for life. That's the goal. Anything outside of that, not necessary for you and really not necessary for us. And trust me, the other thousands of clients we have and I have don't want me spending a lot of time talking to somebody about what he can personally bet on in a different state or what he can't bet on. And they definitely don't want me. Nobody wins when I start typing with the AI bot.
When he can't handle it and you have to jump in.
Nobody wins.
The grind stops.
That's when the purge actually begins. Who named it Winnie, by the way? We got a bot named Winnie. Was that us? Did we do that?
Yeah, that was us, yeah.
That's Karen. That's got to be my wife. I think she's trying to disarm the irritated guy that signs up for a package you can't bet on 2 of the sports in. So you go scream at somebody named Winnie?
Yeah. A chat AI bot named Winnie.
Yeah, nobody screams at Winnie.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Now for the final time this week, our Week 0 kickoff. Here is our host, the man who's been grinding all summer. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you, Brandon, so much. Speaking of grinding, I had a story I told you off the air that was in my notes from the summer, and I don't know that it's okay for this show. I think we should wait till later in the year.
It definitely feels like a Week 7, Week 10 type of conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we don't have as much going on. I saw something funny on Twitter. I know we're going to have to get out of here. So, by the way, I look like I'm in prison. My pictures are gone. It's looked like somebody sent me over to the side room or something. So I'm going to have to change.
Yeah, it's not a rubber wall, and you're not in a straitjacket. So at least
this
we've
house
got
is
that
for
going
sale. Nobody will buy this house. This house is a incredible deal. I'm selling my house in Oklahoma because we have a place in California, got a boat in Florida, and we're going to buy something smaller here. I just don't need 4,700 square feet in Quail Creek right now. I mean, so I'm trying to sell it. Nobody will buy it. I don't understand it. Nobody's told me it's overpriced. Just nobody wants to buy it. It's ridiculous. Go to FatJackSports.com if you live in Oklahoma City and want to buy a great house in Quail Creek for $800K. I mean, because it's a really good deal. Not one person said it's overpriced. So, and I've got an appraisal for like $900. So you're already instant credit. So anyway, FatJackSports.com. So Week 0, segment number 3. Brandon, I saw this thing on TikTok. Stop me if you've seen it. Actually, don't stop me. This girl talks to her Dallas Cowboy fan and says, if I gave you the opportunity to bet as much as you wanted, it has snowed 30 years in a row.
In Alaska.
if I allowed you to bet as much money as you wanted to this year that it would snow in Alaska, how much you bet? And he starts thinking. He's like, well, I snowed 30 years in a row. I'd bet all of our money on that. It's going to be 31 years straight. And she says, so why? So you're saying it's a guaranteed deal. I said, so why are you telling me that the Dallas Cowboys are going to make the play, are going to win the Super Bowl when they haven't done it for 30 straight years? So
I was in our flat, our Airbnb that we had rented in London, and my best friend who was on the trip with us, diehard Dallas Cowboys fan, has been since the day he was born. It's his birthday this weekend, and Jamie's watching Instagram Reels, and that one popped up. And I felt his soul just sink just a little bit because, it's not happening again this year. Dallas Cowboys will not win a Super Bowl until Jerry Jones dies. Like, there's no other way.
Well, the funny thing is, Brandon, if you listen to the show, this has nothing to do with the Cowboys. I'm not a Cowboy hater, but it's very, very predictable on how the NFL works. Mm-hmm. You don't go from being horrible to winning the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't remember the last team that did that. I mean, I'm sure we could think back, but rarely, if you have a team that wins half their games, they are or less. They're not making the Super Bowl this year. I don't care what's on the side of their helmet. Mm-hmm. Teams that make the Super Bowl almost always make the playoffs the year before. And if they didn't make the playoffs, they're like that last team out,
Yeah.
Good division, NFC North type, where you got good teams top to bottom. You're finished third.
Bad teams don't even make the Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
So I think probably the Bengals were the last team who went from being just mediocre at best to at least getting to a Super Bowl.
Exactly. So bad teams don't, and I don't care about injuries. So I listen. I don't want to rain on Cal because I love the pizzazz. I love the spirit, but the reality is it just isn't a thing. I mean, you don't go from nothing to everything. So if you're a Cowboys fan, let's be more realistic. Jerry Jones needs somebody to say, listen, let's be more realistic. Let's just make the playoffs this year. How about that? Let's try to make the playoffs. Let's try to be relevant after Christmas, because that's really where this team needs to be, is important as we turn into 2026. And then next year we'll see, right?
I mean, I'm sure some would settle for Thanksgiving. Let's be relevant at Thanksgiving.
That would be nice too. Let's have our quarterback starting. Have some semblance of a running game. Defense, not everybody on the IR, and everybody's belly aching about it. Everybody's hurt. Everybody gets hurt.
Let's maybe keep a generational defensive player.
I don't even know what that is. Jerry, listen, my mother does not need to be driving a vehicle. And I understand that because she has gotten to the point in her life where if she drives a car, there's a chance she's going to get lost and not be able to find her way home. And so
snap decisions don't get made as quickly.
We have taken the car keys away from her. I don't understand why, if you're in charge of Jerry Jones, why nobody's taking his car keys away.
Yeah.
Because at some point, and this is not an ageism thing, at some point he is not capable of running. And Jerry Jones is never going to tell you that he is, you know what, you're right, Jack, I'm done. I can't find my way home, and I should not be running the Dallas Cowboys. But that day's coming, and these are signs of that. People who say the things he says, who are holding out, who have this really look at me mentality about such a valuable commodity, and so many people's somewhat happiness is involved. That to me is a problem. So Cowboy fans, settle in. I hope you have a better year, but I'm not so sure you're going to. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
I think I have a team that I will talk about next week that is going to fail miserably after having very, very good success in the last few seasons. Could even start 2-5.
Buffalo.
Close colors.
That'll be our cliffhanger then.
Yeah.
We'll come back and we'll talk about it next week and so much more, guys. Get signed up for week 0. FatJackSports.com, $44, all the football through Monday. $149 to $99 for everything this weekend to get you going into the Labor Day weekend where we have week 1 coming up. Get signed up today, save that money, and start your year having success and winning. For Brandon and the Fat Jack, wager responsibly, don't drink and drive. Have a great, great weekend. This has been the Fat Jack Sports Hour.
Back out to Allen. His three-pointer.
Before the ball is tipped or shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history's made.
If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally. Set limits. And keep it fun.
When gambling becomes a problem,
Visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to fatjacksports.com, where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. fatjacksports.com.